Next up, we're talking about a renewable powered future with Azure IoT and Vattenfall. To do that, I'm joined by Connor Kelly and Melin Marcus. Now, when I first started my role as the Green Cloud Advocacy Lead at Microsoft, I reached out to the worldwide sustainability community and I asked, who should I speak to in Azure engineering? And they came back with one name, which was Connor Kelly. And when I got on the phone with Connor Kelly, 1 minute in, he's talking to me about electricity. 5 minutes in, he's talking to me about electricity. 30 minutes in, he's talking to me about electricity. And now, 6 months later, I just talked to everybody about electricity. And now it's my chance to get you excited about electricity as well. So please welcome Connor Kelly from Microsoft and Marcus Mellin from Vattenfall as they talk to us about how to get to a 100% renewable powered future. So hi, Connor. Hannah, could you give a quick introduction to yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Asim. My name is Connor Kelly. I work as a software engineer in Azure IoT, and I focus on creating solutions around energy and sustainability, helping to accelerate our partners in the energy industry to embrace a decarbonized electricity system for the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Connor. And Marcus, could you give a quick introduction to yourself also?
Yeah. Marcus Mellin, I'm part of Vattenfall Business Sales Nordics. I'm working with larger Nordic customers on issues related to energy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Connor, let me start off with you. What's actually stopping us from getting to a 100% powered by renewables future?
Yeah, absolutely. So renewables, like wind and solar, are intermittent by nature. So when they generate, they give us these great windows of really cheap and clean power. But the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. So, we've made great progress in terms of integrating them into our grids. But now as we get to certain grids around the world that have, a lot of renewables, to cover those times that those renewables are not generating, we're going to need to store some power or delay some consumption to meet those needs during the times that renewables are not generating. And so that's the background to this 24/7 hourly renewable solution. And we see that as our path to get there.
And that's right. That's because, or at least the way you taught me actually, was the way the grid works right now is it's all matching supply and demand. There's not much in the way of storage, and it's just because the way electricity has used to be created around the world, which is you burn some fossil fuels, you create electricity. If you need more, you burn more. If you need less, you burn less. But now we're in this wonderful world of renewables where you can't control how much you convert, how much energy you get. So we need solutions for that, and that's what 24/7 matching is, or sounds like what 24/7 matching is helping us get to. So Marcus, give us a bit of a background to Vattenfall and yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Vattenfall is a European energy company. And again, I'm part of that as part of the sales organization. And Vattenfall, we have we're working towards an ambitious goal of providing, enabling fossil-free living within one generation. So no fossils, essentially. And we do that in a number of ways. So we're working with electrifying transportation. We're working with electrifying industry. And also renewables is obviously a large part of that as well. And with renewables, we're doing pretty much everything from building new capacity to providing it to customers. And so we had seen this, call it the 24/7 issue. And we also had already a partnership with Microsoft. So when they approached us with the idea of the 24/7 matching and asked if this was something we wanted to do together, we were really excited, and that's how we got started.
And I love that mission for Vattenfall to aim for fossil-free living within one generation, and I love that statement. That's a beautiful mission to have. So Connor, what are the challenges, and how is 24/7 hourly matching, the solution that Microsoft and Vattenfall are working on together? How is that going to help us get there, or solve the challenge?
Yeah, So as you say, Vattenfall had these incredible sustainability goals. And so we wanted to do anything we could to accelerate them in achieving those. And, Vattenfall know energy, we know technology. So that's what we brought in Azure IoT. To step back to that challenge, as we've talked about, so supply must meet demand at all times. So that implies having very detailed insight into exactly what's happening in real time, and then having the ability to control that energy storage in real time so you can meet any shortfall in renewable energy. And so that's what the solution is about, the technical solution. It's an Azure IoT-based solution, and it monitors Vattenfall's generation assets in real time, their wind and solar farms. And it also then monitors consumption via smart meters in real time. And having those real-time insights allows the real-time control, so the dispatch of energy storage to continue supplying that stored renewable energy via Azure IoT control during those periods that renewable energy isn't generating. And in that way, we can get this really smooth real-time matching of renewable energy with the energy demand.
Okay, so that makes sense. So what you're doing is you're matching, you're calculating the energy, the clean renewable energy that's being generated by wind farms and solar and other clean sources. You know how much energy is needed to be consumed because you've IoT'd up or you're measuring the consumption. And then it's a case of making sure that whatever you consume is matched by some equivalent amount of real renewable sources. Marcus, where do you get this clean renewable sources from, and how is it actually getting matched?
Yeah, so that's the other part of the solution. So you need to be able to match, and also need the renewable electricity. So Vattenfall has different renewable sources, and as a customer, you can also connect your own to the matching solution. But we're looking now at Sweden, and we have wind, for example, and we have hydro. And of course, wind is a little bit unpredictable. You get what you get, whereas hydro, you can do more to control how much is produced when. So Microsoft wanted 100% renewable, and preferably wind. So that's what we also provide in this solution then. So when there is enough wind, they get wind, and on the hours where there's not enough wind, they get hydro instead, and we check to see that there's enough of that. So in this way, Microsoft does get 100% renewable and mostly wind.
And that's amazing. So we're matching. So essentially what's happening is that at the end of the day, we're all connected to the grid. And so at the end of the day, you're just getting whatever the energy mix is that you're getting. So what we're doing here is we're making sure that we are driving the creation of services that support renewable energy by making sure that whatever demand that we have is matched exactly at that moment. So if we have a spike in demand, somebody has to create that demand, and then we're also driving a marketplace for this stuff as well. So Connor, where can we see this in practice, and what are you excited about?
Yeah, so this is where things get really exciting, further rolling this out. So this is currently deployed in the real world on the Microsoft Sweden office campus. So that solution is monitoring those generation assets and the smart meters on that office building, such that it's being supplied in real time continuously with renewable energy. And as Marcus pointed out, there's a lot of hydro storage in Sweden, so that makes storing energy quite easy and cheap. Most of other regions around the world are not blessed with the geography to allow easy hydro storage. So this is where things get really interesting. We need to find other methods of energy storage, but also flexibility. And as we see more electric vehicles on the road, and more battery systems in people's houses, as well as the technology, the technology I mentioned, Azure IoT, with the capability to monitor and control vast numbers of devices in real time with a high level of security, that opens up all these really interesting scenarios around distributed storage and distributed flexibility, where people can make some money perhaps by feeding power into the grid at times of high demand. So we've all heard this in the past, but now we're starting to see the technical solutions to actually enable that to take place. And so, we see this rolling out in further regions globally using different types of energy storage. And we think that the 24/7 solution will start to create the financial incentives to bring this energy storage online. So both the bulk scale energy storage, but also distributed energy storage and flexibility. That would be generally the term of democratization of energy, where people can start to participate in these types of energy markets very seamlessly because of the advances in these types of technologies, such as Azure IoT and the types of products that Vattenfall is starting to bring out. So, really, really excited for the future of this and to see it roll out globally.
That's amazing, Connor. You're giving me those goosebumps again when we talk. You've turned me into a real energy nerd. And I think just something interesting. I remember, I think it was 2 weeks ago in the UK, or 2 Sundays ago in the UK, there was so much wind and solar on that one day. So between the hours of 2 and 3 p.m., I think it was 2 Sundays ago, if you were with certain energy providers that would give you money back, they were offering to pay you 5 cents per kilowatt hour to consume electricity between certain hours, because that's what we need to do. There wasn't enough storage in the system, and they need to create a financial incentive. If I have I don't have an electric car, but if I had an electric car, that's when I would have plugged my electric car in. And I think the future you've just described is really interesting. Imagining a world where we all have electric cars, we're plugging it in, and we ourselves are we are the storage in the system. We are this distributed storage in the grid system, and we can take energy when it's available, and then we can give it back when it's needed, and we can make money from that. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful future world that I'm imagining. So, Marcus, what's next for Vattenfall for this 24/7 hourly matching project?
Yeah, I'm also really excited to see this in other places in Sweden where you have to find additional solutions as well. We do see a lot of potential with this solution for companies that want to take a leading role. So more generally, we're really excited to just scale this up with more customers, and we're hoping to do that going forwards.
And that's amazing. The more people who get to use this platform, the more we can use renewables, and that's really the challenge that we have right now. The challenge isn't necessarily that we don't have the technology of renewables, that it's not available. The challenge is grid challenges. We've got the technology, it's cheap enough, we just need to roll it out at scale. If we roll it out to 100%, we are going to be hit with these fluctuations and storage issues, which is why the 24/7 hourly matching solution is going to help pave our way there, and that's what's really exciting about the projects that you're doing. So this is really incredible. One of the things I talk about when I talk about being green is that being green is a question or a decision about the type of future that we want for ourselves, a future that's worse than the present or a future that's much, much better than the one we have right now. And I'm really happy that you, Connor, and Marcus are working to help us build a better future. Thank you. I think now that I hope we've answered any of your questions. Want people to excited for what you've heard so far. If you have any questions you'd like answered, or you want people to see where you're watching Build Digital 2020, make sure to jump on Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn and post your experiences. Use the hashtag MSBuild, and you might just see you featured on our stream. Let's send it back to Redmond.